Send summer out with a sizzle during the Omaha Steaks Labor Day sale. Save 50% site-wide on legendary steaks, juicy air-chilled chicken, beefy burgers, deli-style franks, and more. Plus, get an extra $35 off with code FALLFLAVOR when you shop omahasteaks.com today. Fall isn't just the unofficial end of summer. It's the beginning of fall grilling season. From Labor Day cookouts to game day greatness, Omaha Steaks delivers the kind of fall flavor that brings people together. USDA-certified tender steaks, legendary burgers, amazing appetizers, and cozy comfort meals for those busy weeknights. And every bite is backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee. Shop now to save 50% site-wide on steaks and more during the Labor Day sale at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get an extra $35 off with code FALLFLAVOR at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, code FALLFLAVOR. Minimum purchase may apply. See site for details.
Always follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah. This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. Busy Labor Day edition of the program coming up. A lot to get into, a lot of reaction from the weekend that was here in college football. A lot of look and a lot of discussion on week 2 here, Paulie, with the numbers and some of the line moves that we've had since numbers were posted either late Saturday night or Sunday morning. Today's Major League Baseball card coming up and some great guests as well. Warren Sharp on the program in 90 minutes. We'll get a couple of best bets for him, what he's looking at in week 1 of the National Football League, and Nick Whalen on the show as well. And, of course, the marquee games of the weekend. Everybody was amped to the gills for these top 10 matchups. And I guess last night's game kind of saved the weekend because the previous 2 games I thought were kind of duds. But regardless, Texas and Ohio State, the biggest talking point, obviously, has been about Arch and his poor play in that game. And we'll get to that coming up in a minute. I will point out that, my God, Ohio State lost a ton of guys on defense. Does it even show? Does it matter at all? They are completely loaded on defense. And I think Texas has a defense that's good enough to win the national title. But will Arch Manning and the offense be good enough throughout the entire year?
Yeah.
Nothing happened in the game, but that was kind of the story of the entire weekend.
Yeah, beautiful. Right, great job by Patricia. Sark did a bad job in the red zone. That's his kryptonite. And I don't know if the best quarterback on the field was Arch Manning moving forward. I guess he's got a little Tony Romo in his game with that sidearm stuff, how he slings it and throwing rocket balls like Favre when the receiver's 5 yards away.
Skipping the ball to receivers who are open, but they're 15 yards down the field, missing them by like 8 yards in front of them.
Yes, but this is always the best time of year. Going crazy, one game, overreacting, sky is falling.
Sure.
But I thought Spurrier had the best line about if this guy was so good, why was Ewers the quarterback all year? And then the guy goes in the 7th round of the draft. I mean, I thought that was an interesting point that Spurrier said as well, but he was awful. And you don't panic because the defense is nasty. That is a top defense. They are going to be one of the best, probably the best defense in college football. But what Patricia did and a great game plan that they had as well. And you got to give Day credit too. Look at the last 7 games he's coached and who they've beat, who they've played, and what they've done. So great job by the Buckeyes to get the win, and a lot of things that Arch has to clean up in Sark.
And looking back, it was a lot here to expect out of Arch to go there in his first game as a starter, week 1, right? You only had like the preseason snaps with your teammates. That's it. That's all we're talking about here. No other games to go by. No other real live action. You have to go all the way back to last year when he was filling in for Ewers. And you're taking on the defending champs. And I get it with the turnover on defense, and Patricia is the new DC. But, I mean, how good is Downs? He might be the best defensive player. He is one of the best players, period, in the entire country. And again, this is Ohio State. They completely reload.
Yep.
And it looked that way. And I actually think the Texas defense looked better.
Yes.
But Arch could do absolutely nothing. And that was my biggest takeaway, is that watching him last year, I don't recall him going to and I tweeted this out, like the Dan Quisenberry submarine style.
Very good.
When he's chucking it like that.
I know. It's like a little Romo. Romo-esque. You see it? Yeah?
Oh, it's disgusting.
It's
It
bizarre.
bothered me the entire game.
I couldn't believe the punt before halftime.
Horrible job out of Sark.
You have the number 1 defense. It's 4th and 2 in Ohio State territory, and you punt?
All right.
Couldn't believe it.
Now, how
the
about
other
this,
thing, too,
too?
remember, they called him 7-win Sark at Washington for a reason.
Yeah?
That's something else to remember. Remember, he was the OC at Atlanta. Couldn't get Julio Jones the ball
That's
in
right.
the red zone as well. So this guy has, once they get in a red zone, it's all kinds of problems.
Now, how about this, too? Like having a feel for the game, and you can probably expect, like, nothing happened again in the first half. And you're the head coach here. Like, to your point, Paulie, if you go for it there and don't get it, have you not been paying attention to the first half? Like, Ohio State's doing nothing on offense. They can't. Like, Smith was a complete non-factor. What was up with him, by the way, with all the drops to begin the game?
Yeah, there's no, those even thrown hard. Yeah.
So, but your defense set the tone. Ohio State was not moving the football. And then, we had Paul Stone, professional sports bettor, had a booth yesterday here at Stadium Swim. We're watching games with him and Dan Saley, another pro bettor. And Saley brought up the point, like, I'm just talking about right now, not having a feel for the game. And Dan was saying, kick the field goals in the game.
Yeah.
If you're down 7-6, then it's 14-6. You score a touchdown, you go for 2. The game is tied.
Good job. We've swung too much in the other direction. You're allowed to kick field goals, and it's okay.
Well, especially when you have to have a sense for the game it's all defense. Yeah. And potentially here, nothing's going to happen by either offense. So, I don't know. That was just perplexing to me. And I said on the show on Friday, I wanted him to go scorched earth for the reaction. Like 30 of 37 for a zillion yards and like 4 touchdowns, and Texas wins the game going away. It was the exact opposite. And I think it was College Football on Fox, a Twitter account, sent out like a 2-minute video, and the Reds just walked off the Blue Jays 5-4.
What a horrible
Labor
loss.
Day.
What a horrible loss. What was the total in that game? Because that was 2-1 in the 9th inning.
Yeah.
Did that go over? Why can't I find it?
Well, it was Hunter Green going today, so that tells me that the total definitely was...
lost. Yeah. Oh, my God. That was 2-1 in the 9th inning. The total was 8.
And the Blue Jays took a 4-2 lead. Bichette hit a home run.
Oh, my God.
They added one on top of that, and then their closer comes. It had to be Hoffman, right?
Good luck. Yeah, good luck.
Oh,
Baseball
boy.
again. The beats this week in baseball. Give me a break. Oh, that's a bad loss.
Well, especially if the Red Sox, at last check, they were winning 5-3. If they win that game, they're going to be, 2.5 back? And the Yankees are, they were 3 back going into today's action of the Blue Jays. Yeah. That's again, Paul, the whiskey and a revolver here.
Yep.
If you have the Reds in this game, had them, I should say, right? You're up 2-1, cruising along the whole time. Blue Jays are doing nothing. Oh, there goes the lead. And all of a sudden they come back and they won in the 9th.
Yeah, Bichette goes deep and they hit another home run. So 2-1 became 4-2, and then they give it back, and the Reds get 3 in the bottom of the 9th, and that's big because the Mets, last check, were up big on Detroit. Yeah, 10-8 in the 9th.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Jeff Seeley asked me this question on Sunday. If LSU played Texas on a neutral this week, what would you make the number? I told him pick him, and that's exactly what he said.
Well, I was pleasantly surprised by LSU's defense, and the offensive line held up and did a great job. But if you're Clemson, how do you go scoreless in the second half at home? Mm-hmm. And it goes back to this, the game has passed Dabo by. And it's been what Dan Orlovsky and all these people have said for a long time. The scheme sucks. So you can have your Watsons and your Lawrences and your great quarterbacks, but since Lawrence left, they're averaging 3.5 losses per season, and they got a big one coming up against Georgia Tech, and suddenly that's a tough schedule. So that LSU couldn't stop anything the last couple of years, and you get shut out in the second half at home. Terrible job. And that's a bad job by Dabo and everyone involved, too. So full marks to Kelly and LSU for winning that. I have no idea to answer your question, but that's why it's tough this early in the season about what you do. But I do know this, and moving forward, and I would say the same thing tonight. In these big games, you got to bet unders because it's conservative. The defenses are definitely ahead of the offenses, and you don't want to make a mistake early. And how many screen passes do I have to see?
I almost vomited
I'm
last
stealing
night.
your thunder here, but I mean that's ridiculous with these quick passes and these 3-yard dump-offs every other play.
I think I heard a stat last night. This is during the game, folks. This is Miami Notre Dame. I think it was the first 25 pass plays combined, 13 were bubble screens.
Oh, God.
Is that good football?
Yeah.
Is that what the game's really going to turn into?
I don't get it.
So
it was like that. Look, come on. You have 2 Heisman favorites in that game, and no one could. The total was 57.
Yeah.
And it's a rocking chair winner. And
offenses did
never
nothing.
in doubt. Yeah, right.
No, the kid that
But it's also conservative play calling, though, too.
It was.
These guys can sling it. Everything's short.
So unfortunately, I bet a kid for Clemson to go over his receptions. He was hurt on the second series of the game. And Klubnik was asked about that after the game, and he said the kid filling in for him actually did a pretty good job. He just couldn't get him the ball. But I wonder, I'm not going to say that the game completely flipped after that kid got hurt, but he was supposed to be a big part of the game plan. They were game planning and designing a bunch of stuff for him leading into the game. I bet him over 5.5 based on that intel, and he gets hurt in the second series. And then suddenly, they couldn't run the football. Forget it. It was really, really difficult to watch. And Klubnik, like you said, 50% with the passes and no threat whatsoever with the explosive passing game. And then in the other one on Saturday, that was no fluke with what FSU did to Alabama. I think if they played again this weekend, FSU would probably do the same thing to them. And look, more on this coming up a little bit later on. We're going to get into, I don't want to overreact, but in 20 minutes, so we have the good, the bad, and the ugly on the program as well. I will just say this. Nick Saban is a very smart man. He got out at the exact right time.
Yep.
He knew the writing was on the wall.
Yep.
That, for 15 years, he had the most talented team in the country, or one of them, and he had the most, the best two deep at every single position. NIL, transfer portal, he's like, good enough for me. See you later.
Yep.
And good luck to Kalen DeBoer.
Sure. That's my favorite stat of the weekend. Since 2007, when Alabama's been favored by 2 touchdowns or more, Saban was 131-2. DeBoer's 4-4. It's incredible. No flick. It's soft. Line up and run on him all day. The best quote of the weekend may have been from an Alabama player, too. The sideline is a living, breathing organism. There's it's the negativity. And it's just we don't have the belief. DeBoer talked about it today. About just getting down and we can't. Where's the effort?
He said he criticized the lack of effort from
It's
that? Week 1.
Can you believe that? I know. This stuff never happened under Saban. But I said it's over when Saban retired. I just think it wasn't going to happen this quickly. I can't believe it. And the other thing too, our buddy Pat Forty nailed it. Strength of schedule is a metric. Okay, win some games.
Sure.
I don't want to do this again with Alabama when they're 8-4. I don't want to do this.
No.
It's enough already. You got to win games.
Totally agree.
And you're losing by 14 points on a regular basis.
And again, to emphasize that one more time, that was not a fluke.
No.
Absolutely not.
No, and Castellanos called his shot.
Yeah.
Good for him. He's got the T-shirts out.
Up next, adjustments to power ratings, Week 2 line moves, and Hoodie makes his UNC debut as a home dog to TCU coming up tonight.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Paul, I'm a big fan of our first guest today on the program. He's going to be joining us every Monday throughout the football season here on this show, and then also Sunday mornings on the Tailgate Show as well here on VSiN as we preview all of the Sunday games that are coming up. His preview book is a must-read for the NFL every single year. It was a big reason why last year I had my best season ever with win totals. You can get that at sharpfootballanalysis.com. Follow him on X at sharpfootball as well. Warren Sharp, kind enough to join us here in the Progressive Guest Line. Good afternoon, Warren. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Doing great. Really looking forward to the start of the season here on Thursday night and can't wait to get into it with you guys here.
Sure. What do you make now? Here we are on the heels. You've had a couple of days to think about it and break it down from a Dallas perspective and what that defense could look like without Micah Parsons on the field for Thursday night when they take on the champs here. Now that number has moved. A lot of books at 7.5 here for Philly.
Yeah, with Micah Parsons, they were holding opposing quarterbacks on pass plays to minus 0.02 EPA per attempt. That spiked to plus 0.14. That was basically the difference between shifting from the 10th best pass defense to the 31st ranked pass defense. And from a yards per attempt perspective, last year when Parsons was not out on the field, they were the dead last team in the NFL, allowing 8.4 yards per pass attempt. So it's going to really benefit Jalen Hurts in the passing game a little bit more than it would the Eagles in the run game. But it definitely is not a plus add. And then if you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, I was surprised to see their last time that they hosted a week 1 game, home opener, was 2019. They've been on the road every single year since 2020 on these week 1 games. They now get to host this week 1 home game. They're 4-0 since 2011, hosting week 1 games. They've played the third fewest of those since 2011. And they have one of the sneakiest home field advantages in the NFL. We have a referee expert who works on my staff. He says that the Philadelphia Eagles' third best penalty edge at home. So that's going to be interesting as well.
Okay, file that one away, yeah.
Yes, awesome. How about Friday night in Brazil? You have great numbers here on how Mahomes and specifically Andy Reid get hot and start fast right out of the gate week 1.
They do, and the interesting part about this game, in my opinion, is what we saw in the preseason. Now, a lot of people don't want to take too much out of the preseason data, but when I looked at the preseason, I know that Andy Reid really emphasizes getting this offense started quickly. And Patrick Mahomes' air yards in the preseason, the last 2 years, in 2023, it was 5.1 air yards per attempt. In 2024, it was 7.3 air yards per attempt. These were shorter underneath passes in the preseason. That led into what he was doing in the regular season, where he averaged only 5.6 air yards per attempt during the 2024 regular season. He had the fifth fastest time to throw. They were really trying to get rid of the ball quickly underneath, and that's what the strategy was for this Kansas City Chiefs offense in each of the last 2 years. In this year's preseason game, he averaged 11.6 air yards per attempt, way different than anything he was doing the last couple of preseasons. And he actually held onto the football before he passed it for 3.4 seconds per attempt. That was the third longest time to throw out of over 100 quarterbacks this preseason. So I know, again, a lot of people don't want to take things away from the preseason, but to me, this just reemphasizes the fact that Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes are going to be looking towards getting a little bit more explosive down the field with this passing attack to help not only get more explosive plays and help take away the stress from needing to convert on third downs as much, but also opening that run game a little bit if you push defenders back to have to play some of the deeper passes like the Los Angeles Chargers are going to have to do down there in Brazil. So with Andy Reid putting such an emphasis on preseason, his teams tend to start off very quickly, 9-1 in their last 10 week 1 games, because they actually play their starters in the preseason, which is something that a lot of teams decide not to do. It's going to be really interesting to see how aggressive down the field the Kansas City Chiefs are going to get right out the gates against the LA Chargers. And it's certainly going to be the thing that I'm paying attention to the most in that Friday night game.
Good breakdown. I'm on the Chiefs in that one. I'm also on the Chiefs because of your NFL Preview magazine when you pointed out how bad the Chargers defense was when they faced good quarterbacks and elite quarterbacks. What do you have on Trevor Lawrence from a prop, and what do you expect with Lawrence and the Jacksonville offense now with Cohen taking over?
So there's a little bit of trepidation because I've sold Trevor Lawrence the last couple of years. I just don't have a lot of confidence. Obviously, he was viewed as a generational prospect at one point in time and hasn't lived up to that. But I am so big on coaching, and I really think coaching is going to make a difference here for Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, almost 50% of all passing touchdowns come from inside of the 10-yard line. And Trevor Lawrence with Doug Peterson was throwing the football inside of the 10-yard line at only about a 40% clip on early downs. Well, last year, Liam Cohen had Baker Mayfield throwing the football inside the 10-yard line at a 57% clip, which was one of the highest rates of any quarterback in the NFL. A lot of quick underneath passes, and that's exactly what happened over the course of the rest of the field. Liam Cohen just likes to get these quarterbacks throwing the ball quick, short, underneath, take the stress off of them, allow for yards after the catch. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen here for Trevor Lawrence and this Jacksonville Jaguars passing attack. They still have issues along the offensive line, so we're not going to see, in my opinion, a lot of success with them just pounding the ball down at the goal line over and over again and running in a lot of touchdowns. I still think they're going to be throwing the football at a fairly high rate, like Liam Cohen was doing in Tampa Bay last year. And as a result, Trevor Lawrence over 22.5 passing touchdowns, which is what the current number is, I think holds some value. I also took it at 30 plus at a nice plus number because, look, last year, Baker Mayfield threw 41 passing touchdowns in Tampa Bay under Liam Cohen. I don't think we're going to get that high of a number with Liam Cohen with Trevor Lawrence this year, but I do think he goes over 22.5.
No, I'm with you. Look, I mean, I went scorched earth last year into the season on Trevor Lawrence as well. But once they hire Liam Cohen, I was like, oh boy, they're going to suck me back in one more time, aren't they? And
Right.
like based on that, like in terms of like, I think I'm drafting my 12th fantasy team tonight or something like that. I have several Jaguars like littered across the board. Brian Thomas in some leagues. I have Travis Hunter, obviously. Even like in deeper leagues, take Tank Bigsby or whatever. But I have Lawrence in one or two leagues as like a backup quarterback. I'll take a flyer on him.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, Tank Bigsby, as you mentioned earlier, I've taken some of those in my fantasy leagues as well. I just think that there's a lot of upside that the market isn't baking into by the fact that I think we're going to see a big change. Trevor Lawrence averaged 9.3 air yards per attempt last year. That was the third highest of any quarterback in the NFL. Baker Mayfield was way down at number 31 in terms of air yards per attempt. So this isn't just down inside of the goal line. I think this is over the course of the field. We're going to see a higher completion rate from Trevor Lawrence. We're going to see more completions, more touchdown passes. I think it's going to help the passing attack overall, make more opportunities for red zone chances to throw those touchdowns. And that's what I think we're going to get this season. I even took over 21, I think it was 21 and a half completions for Trevor Lawrence in week one against the Carolina Panthers now that the week one props are out, because I just am such a believer in this thought process that we're going to see a reduced target depth. Unlike Patrick Mahomes, where they might throw deeper, here Liam Cohen is going to reduce Trevor Lawrence's target depth from the really high levels it was at last season.
Very good. Warren, love talking to you. This is going to be excellent throughout the entire year, every Monday, but also the Sunday morning show is going to be terrific with games just coming up like this. Your preview book is second to none. You're the best in the business at that. I highly recommend it to anybody who's never had their hands on it or laid their eyes on it as well. SharpFootballAnalysis.com is where you can get it. What else can the audience expect when they go to your website?
Well, we cover props, and that's one of the things I'm looking forward to talking to you guys on Sunday morning as well. I find a lot of betting opportunities in the prop market on Sundays. We're going to be able to share a lot of that with the viewers who are watching your guys' pregame show on Sunday mornings. But our website covers fantasy. Our website covers sports betting, a lot of futures. I think I got like 22 futures that we've bet up there right now. And of course, I'm most known for betting totals in the NFL with a algorithm there. And again, during the course of the season, we're going to be able to get a lot of this to the viewers on Sunday morning. So I'm really excited for the opportunity and be able to work with you guys this football season.
All right, back at you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, and we look forward to it. Have a good week, okay?
Thanks for having me, guys.
There you go. And we'll talk to him again on Sunday. Warren Sharp, follow him on X at Sharp Football. Again, the website is sharpfootballanalysis.com, and he was on the Progressive guest line. Sunday mornings here on the program, the tailgate show that we're going to be doing, he's going to pop on twice, early on, and then again, final hour of the show. We're going to be on from 9 until noon Eastern time. And so he'll give you what he's thinking about early, and then he'll finalize the bets a little bit later on in the show. We're going to have Dr. David Chow on.
Great guy, met him.
Right after the inactives come out.
Yep, looking forward to that. Great timing as well. He's on board. And I also texted you last night. I was looking at the schedule. I forgot how many international games we have.
Oh, we got a ton.
So there's going to be a lot of weeks where we're live while the game's on. London, Ireland, Spain, Germany.
Yep.
I think there's like 7 of them.
And John Hansen's going to be on the show every single week as well. Fantasy Guru. He'll be looking at props as well. Can't wait. Sunday mornings. That show is going to zip by, man. 6 games, right? While we're live on the air?
6 or 7?
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
Yep.
They just knocked Miz out.
Turner,
the guy who ripped him and said it was a joke that he made the All-Star game. Turner just got a hit off him. 5-3 Brewers in the 5th. Miz is out 4 in the 3rd innings, 4 strikeouts.
At least one conference will have a complete long shot to simply make the conference title game the good, the bad, and the ugly. Next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN. The good.
Pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good.
The bad.
I've had it with this dump. Got no food, got no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off.
And the ugly.
First of all, that's horrible. Well, that was the worst piece of equipment I've ever seen.
All right, got to give it up to LSU on all the concerns, rightfully so, about the offensive line. They did an excellent job hanging in there, but I was more surprised by what they did defensively. And you shut out Clemson at home in the second half? What a job all the way around, and Brian Kelly avoids their 6th straight 0-1 start for LSU. Big win. Tough schedule coming up. I know a lot of these teams can say that. Tough schedule. But just like Miami. It's huge to get that first W against a awesome opponent right out of the gates. And I also, this was also the week of the running quarterbacks. What Dampier did, what Castellanos did. How about what Jackson Arnold did Friday? Embarrassing job by Baylor defensively.
Sure.
But Arnold gashing him on the ground time and time again. Let me give you his stats, what he did on the ground. He had 16 for 137 and 2 scores. Unbelievable.
That first touchdown run was just, hello, defense? Anybody there?
I know. And then what Retzlaff did with Tulane. He comes in late July and transfers to Tulane. He had 170 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half, and a good performance as well. That's my good. My bad. Middle Tennessee State lane 13.5 against Austin Peay. Lost 34-14.
Damn.
What? What happened there? That was under the radar.
I think Middle Tennessee has Wisconsin this week.
They do.
And they're catching 4 touchdowns in that game.
Yes. With that Wisconsin offense, they couldn't move the ball.
I know.
Against Miami of Ohio, at least only 17 points. And then Sark against Patricia. No, I had that wrong. I was concerned about the pencil. He was great. And again, that's been the knock on Sark. The kryptonite in the red zone. Ridiculous play calling, some of it conservative. You could see the quarterback sneak coming a mile away. But as I said it earlier in the show, it's okay to kick field goals. And I couldn't believe the punt, 4th and 2, with your defense being probably the best in the country. The punt, 4th and 2 before halftime in Ohio State territory.
Yeah, totally agree. Am I good? Look, you're going to factor in the competition for a lot of this stuff, but what John Mateer did for Oklahoma, at least that's a great sign. And they blew the doors off Illinois State, and he actually moved to the Heisman favorite briefly on Saturday at least one book. And 30, that's funny. That's the exact line I wanted Arch to put up. 30-37 for 392, 3 touchdowns, 24 rushing and a touchdown. If that kid, the long term here, if this kid can be as good as that box score suggests, or a lot of people, the betting market specifically, I saw a lot of people, Paulie, you were high on them, but Phil Steele, others who I respect.
Oh, I love this kid.
Really high on Oklahoma coming into the year. With that defense, the team was unwatchable last year because the offense was so bad. Mm-hmm. And the defense they were completely up against it. They were still really, really good, but they had no help. And so if he can come there and be super rock solid, they're probably going to the playoff team. Hello, even though they have a very difficult schedule. And I got to give it up to Carson Beck. I'm not high on this kid at all. Laughed on the year last year. This is not his problem. Sportsbooks had him listed as the short shot or the favorite to go number 1 overall in the draft. And we were mocking that on the air. And eventually, that it ran its course. His time at Georgia went bye-bye, transferred to Miami, got a ton of money. And you saw it, by the way, in the post-game interview. He was so emotional because of what it was like for him in the offseason. He felt a lot of criticism, right? But also his wide receivers helped him out quite a bit in that game, something he did not have at Georgia last year. Here's the key part to the Miami schedule. In a 5-game stretch, check that, they get South Florida, and at Florida State, then Louisville, 4 straight games. Then they get Stanford, then they're at SMU. That's 5 out of 6 games.
Wow.
And suddenly, I don't want to get nuts here, but some of those games now in the ACC look a little bit different than we thought as of Friday.
That's true.
And Utah and Texas Tech. Utah was awesome. 43-10 over the Bruins. A lot of preseason hype on both these teams. And again, the level of competition here for the Red Raiders, I get it. It was Arkansas Pine Bluff, but they won 67-7. Outgained Pine Bluff 608 to 175. 33 first downs to 11. Take care of your business. Move on. And don't struggle at all. And I was on Arizona State a long time ago in this conference. These 2 teams are going to be fierce competitors for them the entire season.
Dante Moore looked pretty good.
Yeah, I would say
that
so.
Helps. And your Texas Tech quarterback could be a bomb, too. They're going to put up ridiculous numbers. He's 80-1 right now at DraftKings, the Texas Tech quarterback for the Heisman. Yep.
My bad. The Mountain West Conference here.
Oh, God.
The Boise State embarrassment and San Jose State losing at home to Central Michigan. I didn't watch the game. You said that you watched the game.
I watched
it was
the whole
just a
thing.
Total joke.
Yep.
They were a pick from a lot of people to at least make it, if not potentially challenge Boise State in the Mountain West. You go out and lay a dud like that? What is UNLV going to be a factor again this year?
They will be. Because
Probably.
The schedule's so easy. But
Right.
they almost lost at home to Idaho State.
Yeah, so here, a prediction here is that a major bomb is going to make it to the Mountain West Conference title game. Like a 25, 40, 50 to 1 shot just to make it. And also targeting. Are you kidding me with what happened to the Michigan kid?
They got to fix this rule.
And now he's going to miss the first half of the Oklahoma game?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? This is not football that we're playing.
No.
Or that we're watching. That's total BS that they actually called the flag.
You forgot where you almost cursed.
I know. And then they actually said it was targeting, and then they upheld it today and said he's like their best defensive player potentially.
Yep.
And it's a huge game looming now against the Sooners, by the way, taking money. And you can't possibly be serious with this.
Yep.
What is he supposed to do?
My ugly, DeBoer, Alabama. They're just another program. I said it, they'd be just another program once Saban retired. I didn't think it would happen this fast, but Saban lost twice as a double-digit favorite. DeBoer's done it 4 times in 14 games. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They've lost 5 of their last 6 away from home. How about the quotes today? There was some lack of effort on defense. You got to pursue. It surprises you when it happens sometimes with certain guys. They give the effort and practice. In other cases, we got to be quicker to get on the spot and do our job. Also, there aren't learning moments anymore. This is us and our program, and we understand the situation we put ourselves in.
Well, those are some pretty damning comments after one game.
Yep. And another player said, the sideline is a living and breathing organism. It's like the body language and the hustle and weird stuff going on, and just where's the tough Alabama team we see in the trenches, and you can just line up and run it on them as well. San Jose State lost 16-14 at home. As 14.5-point favorites. So bad offensively what happened. I know the turnovers against a Central Michigan team that was very conservative throughout. And Northwestern lost 23, took money big time. Lost 23-3 to Tulane. 5 turnovers, only 230 yards. It's my ugly.
Yeah, my ugly, I would say overall the quality of play for week 1. The defense is way ahead of the offenses. But, we want football to be back in such a, bad way that the people who, like on Saturday night, were on social media saying, oh my God, what a day of games. Actually, the games kind of stunk.
I was fine with it. Okay.
It just,
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought the offenses were so bad in most of these games and the big games as well.
Well, the play call.
The play calling again.
Was bad.
The stuff from Sark when it mattered most. Terrible at the goal line. And the bubble screens. My God, if we have another bubble screen, watch tonight with TCU and North Carolina. We'll have like 10 bubble screens in the first half. I'm going to lose my mind. DeBoer, the thing is, like, on that quote, by the way, from the player, it's a living, breathing organism. Doesn't that kind of speak? We're all new to this whole NIL and transfer portal stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't that speak to everybody's going to be getting paid? Some people might be jealous of teammates. And also, like, where a lot of times, like, there might be zero chemistry between these teams. In the locker room.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah.
I could absolutely see that being a problem. And, Clemson has to make the ugly.
Oh, absolutely. The second half performance, yeah.
They were 3 of 13 on third downs, 13 first downs overall, 31 yards on the ground. You can have Dabo. I've been saying that for years.
No, you're right. You're right. Scheme's atrocious. Credit to the people who've been saying it for a long time. The other one, too, the first tweet was from Brett McMurphy about the when Saban was a 2-touchdown favorite. The other one was when Saban played unranked teams. This guy keeps losing to unranked teams.
I know.
Is another one.
Yep.
Good, the bad, the ugly, brought to you by SharpPlays.com. Get the latest betting insights and analysis now. SharpPlays.com.
And it's great to have it back. I just thought some of the play was ugly, but it's week 1, so you can expect some of that stuff. Also, I'm very strong on Penn State. Very strong. This is going to be their year. This is it. And if James Franklin can't get over the hump, I don't think he's ever going to do it.
I will say you have to be blown away by the Texas defense.
Oh, it's awesome.
You hold Ohio State down like that.
That's the thing, right? The Texas defense will be good enough for them to, if Arch can get better, and I expect him to be right there at the end. Nick Whalen on the program coming up next. We'll go over a bunch of stuff that he likes looking at week 1 of the NFL here on VSiN.
the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Good to have you on board. Thanks for watching on YouTube TV, listening on Sirius XM channel 158, or one of the many outstanding terrestrial radio spots that we have across the country. We're live here on Labor Day. Hope everybody had a terrific and safe holiday weekend. And in this hour, Paulie, we're going to go over updated future numbers in college football, conferences, and odds to make or miss the playoffs. Intriguing movement there. Monday night preview here, North Carolina and TCU. In Pocket Plays coming up, and here we head out to the Progressive guest line. Nick Whalen joins the program now. Now he's on Sirius XM Fantasy Today, noon to 2 Eastern Time. Nick, thanks for the time today. How are you?
Doing well, guys. Doing well. Appreciate you having me back, and officially ready to start focusing in on week one.
Did you make a bet on the Rams-Texans game at all when the back problem was lingering there for Matthew Stafford? Now, of course, they came out today and they announced that he's going to give it a go and he's going to start. But did you make a bet on that game like in the last couple of days, last couple of weeks at all?
Yeah, it was 3 or 4 days ago. I was looking at the under at 44.5, and it's down to 43.5 right now at DraftKings. There are still some 44.5s out there if you look around. But I know we got the news earlier today that, yes, Matthew Stafford is trending toward playing. It's not surprising, based on how these last couple of weeks have gone. But Matthew Stafford has been very limited for the last 3 or 4 weeks, especially. And, we never expected him to play in the preseason, but not practicing at full speed. You got a Rams team that has a big piece to work in Davante Adams. And I think there's a decent chance that really both sides come out looking a little rusty in this game offensively. Houston, one of the biggest under teams in the league last year, went under this number specifically, 44.5, in 13 of 19 games, including the postseason. So I have questions about the Rams offense. You certainly have questions about the Houston offense, maybe the worst offensive line on paper in the NFL. No Joe Mixon to begin the year. You have 3 or 4 kind of uninspiring options behind him. DeMeco Ryan seemed hesitant to really commit to any of those guys. But really, guys, why I like the under here is you have 2 of the best defenses in the NFL. And I don't know if the Rams are quite in that upper echelon, but the Texans, to me, are a top 2 or 3 defense. You got 2 really good pass rushes. The Rams defense got better and better as last season went along. So I think both of these teams will be fine. I like the Texans to win the AFC South. I don't know that there's really another reasonable contender to them in that division, but I can see this one being a bit of a slog in week one.
All right. How about another under? Makes sense. The Saints were plus 450, fewest points on the year. I think there's going to be an ugly offense with it's salary cap hell as well. How about Arizona Saints 43.5?
Give me the under, guys. Sign me up.
Yep.
Whether you like the game under, whether you like the Saints team total under 17.5, I just have no faith in the New Orleans Saints offense. I think you feel a little bit better about it with Spencer Rattler just because he has some modicum of NFL experience, but you can't be thrilled by what you saw from Spencer Rattler last season. And yeah, you could say, the tough opponent, schedule picked up as the year went along. They lost some pieces. I don't know that the current Saints roster heading into week one is all that much better than the Saints roster that was on the field for much of last season. We'll see how long Chris Olave could stay out there. We'll see how effective Alvin Kamara is in what's just not a fantasy-friendly, productive-friendly system for him. You look at the games where Rattler started last year, 6 starts, then he came into a game and played most of it. 5 of those 7 games went under this game total at 43.5. The Saints scored 10, 8, 19, 0, and 10 points in 5 of those 7 games. The only 2 outliers came against Tampa Bay at a time when the Bucs defense was missing a bunch of guys in the secondary. They were really struggling. And on the other side of this game, I think the Cardinals have maybe one of the more underrated defenses in the NFL. I mean, you'd be hard pressed for, even a fairly serious NFL fan to be able to name 3 players on that defense last year, but they invested in the draft. They invested in free agency, didn't make a whole lot of changes offensively. So I'm still a little bit skittish approaching the Cardinals when it comes to winning that division or the win total, but I think they're in a good spot here to win in week one, and I think that defense is really going to hold down the Saints.
Hey, Nick, to your point on the Saints offense, too, by the way, to go back to that for a second, a fantasy angle here. I have been, it's been my pick. I'm on the clock in like every league so far, and there's Alvin Kamara, like just begging me to take him, like whatever round it is. It's like, it's his turn to go. I might need a running back. You go by ADP, you go by tiers. It's like, okay, now's the time. I haven't pulled the trigger one time. Like I want nothing to do with any of these Saints players.
Me neither, man. Me neither. I know there are Chris Olave supporters out there, and Olave is going so late in drafts that one you could justify, but I just worry so much about the concussions and even what is the upside, even if he does stay healthy in this offense. Kamara, he's had years where the Saints have been down. He's still been productive, but he's so reliant on the pass catching. So if you're not in a full point per reception fantasy league, I'm just not that interested in Alvin Kamara. It's a guy who, for as long as he's been in the NFL and for as great as he's been, doesn't have 1,000-yard rushing season. I don't think that's going to come this year. So that worries me a little bit. And honestly, my party line on this is I don't want to be in that situation where I have to take Alvin Kamara or Chuba Hubbard, one of those backs you just don't feel all that great about with pick 50 overall. I want to get to that point in the draft. I want to be entering round 5 already with 2 running backs in my back pocket, so I just don't have to shop in that range.
Do you? Where is he going in drafts, and do you recommend you take Ollie Gordon out of Miami?
Yeah, I like Ollie Gordon quite a bit, and part of it is somewhat of a fade on Devon Achane. Right?
Yes.
If Devon Achane stays fully healthy, sees the workload he did last year, plays 16, 17 games, then there's probably not that much room for Ollie Gordon, but everybody was excited about Jalen Wright coming into training camp, and once again, he's injured. He's going to miss time to begin the year. I think Ollie Gordon is going to have a real opportunity first 3 or 4 weeks of the season to assert himself as a high-level number 2, or a handcuff, as we call it in the fantasy world, where, look, you're not drafting Ollie Gordon, hopefully, and starting him at any point early in the season, but the whole point is you can get him, pick 140, pick 150 in some drafts overall, just, at the point where you're just kind of burning spots, you're taking flyers on players. And if Devon Achane goes down at any point this season, which I think is a real possibility, I mean, you're finding your way into a guy who all of a sudden you are comfortable starting, a guy who could be a lower-end starting running back in fantasy.
Very good.
Yeah, Nick Whalen, our guest, RotoWire senior analyst, Sirius XM Fantasy today at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central Time, 9 a.m. out here on the West Coast. How about another under that you like in Week 1? Paulie asked the question, an hour ago, where are the points coming from in the Steelers-Jets game? So I will ask you. Total's 38.5.
I would ask the same question. I don't trust either of these offenses. I think the Steelers in particular are very comfortable playing these type of games, right? They're not the team that wants to run up the score. I think if they can beat you 17-13, they're more than happy to do it. I think ideally the Jets would like to be more explosive, but everything we've learned about this team over the last few weeks and in the preseason has been extremely discouraging as far as the Justin Fields, Garrett Wilson connection or lack thereof. I challenge anyone to tell me who the number 2 receiving option is for the Jets. There's some excitement in the fantasy world about Mason Taylor, the rookie tight end, but we'll see. I think that could be a later in the season type of thing. So I think the Jets could still be a really tough out week to week. Like, I still wouldn't be shocked if they won this game, but I do not see this being high scoring whatsoever. I think this is a 10 to 15 carry type of game for Justin Fields. I think it's classic Aaron Rodgers conservatism, not pushing the ball downfield. Neither of these teams have really anything at pass catcher outside of their number 1 wide receivers in Garrett Wilson and DK Metcalf. 2 very good receivers, but not on that level where they single-handedly, kind of drag you to 1 or 2 touchdowns per week, like some of the truly elite receivers do in the NFL. So this is one to me. I know that number's low. You don't want to bet, an over in the 30s in Week 1. I'm all over it.
All right. How about a side here? I think you're going to make a good case how important this is for Jacksonville. You're supposed to come in with the hotshot coordinator. You get Cohen. You're supposed to fix Lawrence. If you lose at home to Carolina and or can't move the ball, then I think sky is falling Monday morning. What say you?
Absolutely. And, I think the sky will be falling internally. It'll be falling for Jaguars fans like myself. And a big part of the reason that this is a must-win game for the Jags at home, by the way, in Week 1, is you're going to Cincinnati in Week 2. You're hosting the Houston Texans in Week 3. You're going to San Francisco in Week 4, and then you have the Chiefs in Week 5. 2 weeks later, you got the LA Rams. I mean, they have to win this game. If they don't beat the Carolina Panthers in Week 1, you're likely looking at a 1-4 start to me at best. Maybe you luck your way into a win in one of those next 4 games that I mentioned. So, look, I typically bet against the Jaguars. I fade my own mental health, if you will, but I don't think this Carolina team is all that good. I think we were a little bit overrating what we saw for Bryce Young over the second half of last season, just relative to the quarterback that he had been. I think the Jags will put up points. Really what I like here more than anything is the over 24.5 on that Jags team total. But you're giving me the Jags 2.5 at home. I think they'll do enough offensively to win this game against what was arguably the worst defense in NFL history a year ago in Carolina.
Nick, do you trust Cincinnati enough here in Week 1, like either in survivor pools, laying the points, or moneyline parlay, whichever way you want to attack it?
I don't know if I do. And I'm very curious to see how that breaks down in Circa Survivor in week 1. How many people are just on principle not taking the Cincinnati Bengals, who, in theory should be on the short list of teams that you would target. But I think they've built up enough bad will over the last few years, and especially last season, that some people will just stay away. Now, they made the decision to play some starters in the preseason in multiple games. We'll see if that ultimately does make a difference. Look, if it's a must-win for Jacksonville in week 1 against Carolina, this is an absolute must-win for the Cincinnati Bengals, especially Zach Taylor, right? If Zach Taylor moves to 1-12 straight up in week 1 and week 2, I don't know how that inspires any faith going forward if you're Cincinnati. So I think the Bengals get it done. Am I going to be putting my money on it? I'm not sure I would.
Very good. Nick, by the way, you're going to pop on this show every Monday. We'll do like a Monday Night Football preview, among other things. And today is the first day. Next week, obviously, we'll have Bears-Vikings. So that's going to be awesome. Really looking forward to that, man. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Yeah, appreciate you having me, guys. Should be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Be good. There you go. Nick Whalen joined us here on the Progressive Guest Line. He's on X at WHA, the number 1 EN, RotoWire senior analyst. By the way, Phillies took the lead over the Brewers 6-5.
Yep. Bullpen implosion here. Yep. 5-1 lead gone.
So that's
and Atlanta's trying to give it away, too. 6-4 over the Cubs in the 7th.
Yeah, bullpen shenanigans, huh? Surprise, surprise.
Yep.
So when the Brewers get bounced in the first round, people are going to say, told you so. Huh? They peaked back in August. Knew it.
Devers hit another home run.
He's blazing hot.
This guy's locked in.
Watch him hit like 40 on the year now.
Oh, man.
The daily home run props with him. You're raking it in here lately.
Sure.
We will go over updated future numbers in college football, conferences, and odds to make or miss the playoffs, how these numbers have moved next.